I wish it would bring news because renewals and cancellations, like I said earlier, not here. It's not here as of this recording. I mean, fingers crossed that we hear something next week. But we do have shows we think will be back and shows that we don't. So let's go through the list of the roster.
This is
Starting
like
with
our final predictions.
yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God. I guess we should do them rapid fire. So I'll start. All American, safe. I don't think it's going anywhere. We just started the college era. Like it's got a spinoff right now, trucking along on the network. So I think we're guaranteed a season 5.
Yeah, and it's in the top 5 at least as of last week in the ratings, which I know ratings aren't like a huge factor, but like it doesn't hurt.
True.
Yeah, we talked about how it's the biggest organic hit, and in this current era of the CW, they kind of need organic hits. So I don't see that going anywhere.
And it's part of the Netflix deal. I feel like a lot of the shows that are part of the Netflix deal, not as scary during this time when it comes to renewals and cancellations. I am scared for one show though, and it's a show that I love, and it's All American Homecoming.
I'm not worried about All American Homecoming.
You're not? Okay, assure me. Please tell me.
Yeah, this might be a little too like wishful thinking, but just looking at the ratings, like it doesn't lose a ton of viewers from All American. Like that drop off isn't huge. Like we see on Friday night, Dynasty shed like almost half of Charmed's audience. I don't know if that's just like a premiere situation, but in its 4th week, All American Homecoming is performing really well. It has the about the same rating, not just the viewership. And I think they're not going to give up on something that could grow into a bigger hit. I'm not concerned about it. I'm not too worried.
My heart. Thank you.
Yeah,
it's not beating anymore.
I'm definitely with Reed on that. I feel like they've invested too much in it, and it's to scrap it too suddenly. But aside from that, we talked about the importance of steadiness on the network, and it is one of the more steady shows. And shows that kick off this late into the whole like TV world as ratings continue to dwindle on season by season. I feel like we shouldn't over expect things from shows, and All American Homecoming has been steady since it started. So I feel like in this kind of era, that's what they need to gravitate towards in order to maintain successes when it becomes a proper TV network.
Okay, see, I've been a negative Nancy. And I've been a negative Nancy because I'm so invested in the show that like I have fear. Usually I don't have fear with the CW because they usually renew things, but we're in a different era. And I just don't want to lose this show before it can really find its footing. And I just don't know what I'm going to have ideas for what is going to be axed, and we'll go through them as we continue going down the list of shows currently airing and set to premiere over, I guess, the summer. But I don't know. I'm ready to put the negative Nancy on the shelf and embrace the things that you guys have said to me, because again, my heart was beating really fast when just talking about All American Homecoming and it not getting a renewal. For some reason though, I feel confident about Batwoman. And I think it is because, Michael, you've said not every episode, but so many episodes, that it has steady ratings, solid fan base, solid ship. It's not going anywhere.
I would make the same prediction. I think it's safe. I will be honest and say this is the year I had been most worried about it because of the whole CW thing. You don't know what shows are going to come back or whatnot. But again, this network needs to gravitate towards what's steady. And it and Legends of Tomorrow were steady Wednesday performers. Even when Batwoman was on Sunday, it still performed quite well. So the fact is, it's not going to get the ratings its pilot did. It's not going to get the ratings the bigger shows did. But if you can find a niche, an audience that continue to come back to a show week in, week out, and you almost have that with every Arrowverse show, but to have it, Batwoman has its own kind of unique fan base that are so vocal online, and they do tune in. Yes, not all of them do because it's worldwide, but like at the end of the day, apparently it's one of the CW's more popular streaming shows. I don't don't know where that's come from, but apparently that's why they keep pushing it so heavily on the streamer. And on top of that, its ratings are among the most steady on the network. And again, we need steadiness. I would like to see more Batwoman, and I think we will see more Batwoman going forward.
Yeah, I'm not as worried about it as like fans seem to be. I don't know. I am kind of concerned about Charmed, though after seeing its premiere ratings, maybe we shouldn't be super worried. Maybe it'll get final season for season 5.
Perhaps. I mean, the season opening ratings were good for Charmed. Oh, was that shady? It wasn't meant to be shady, but it was. But it was. I think for some people, including myself, it was because I was being nosy in terms of like tuning into a show that I had given up on previously. So perhaps people, if they enjoy the new Charmed one, who we'll talk about later, will continue to tune in.
Yeah, Charmed to me, because there's been such a dialogue about it, has always struck me as a show that would have a short shelf life, but yet every year it comes back and it comes back and it defies the odds. I don't think it has the longest shelf life of the CW shows, but I feel like this kind of mini reboot they did may have revitalized it, let it last a little bit longer. And even with its on paper shorter shelf life, if that's even a thing, I don't see them pulling the plug on it because it's kind of become a Friday night staple. And I do think it could hold those kind of viewers. So that for me means that at the very worst case scenario, it will get final season. With the rest of them, I don't see them just pulling the plug on it.
Speaking of Friday night staples, I'm unfortunately more worried about Dynasty than I ever have been. And I think it's just because it's like you were saying with Homecoming, like it's my show and I love it. But it is getting up there. It's a veteran show. No one thought it would last this long. It's the lowest rated show on the network in viewership. I don't know. I don't want it to go anywhere I don't even want it to be final season because I don't think season 6 would be. This isn't the kind of show like the rest of these shows. They kind of they're working toward an end game where you can see where they're working towards something. This is straight up soap opera, could last for 10 seasons if they wanted to. So I can't right now visualize what an end would be like, especially for the current season that they're airing or even the next season. So I don't know. I just don't want it to go anywhere. Manifesting.
So like let's so just manifest a renewal, not manifest the final season. And we won't speak of the other option.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine if they give me advance warning and they're like, season 6 is it, I'll be like, okay, cool. I can like let that sink in. But I don't know. I just don't want to be worried about it.
Let's not worry. Let's manifest.
No, yeah, exactly. And with the Netflix deal in place, it should be one of the more safer ones that has a bit more creative freedom. I do know what you're saying. On paper, it doesn't look good, but neither does it for half the shows on the CW. But I feel like Dynasty has a lot working in its favor, the Netflix deal being the most of them. And it's probably significantly cheaper to produce than some of the other more expensive shows on the network as well. So there is a lot working in its favor. Don't doubt it just yet. Don't worry about it. Keep the faith. I'm going to predict myself that it will be safe.
Yes. Thanks, Michael. Applause for that.
As our Flash experts, what do you guys think about the Flash?
Safe. We don't even need to talk about it.
Oh yeah, no, that show ain't going nowhere. Veteran. It's a veteran. It's sticking around.
Yeah, we'll move on to In the Dark, which I think I'm surprised that this has been around for as long as it has. It's a good show, but I do hope that they keep it nice and tight. Season 4, final season. Yeah, I don't think it should go to a 5th season.
Okay. I have not seen a single episode. I have seen half a promo. In the Dark is living its life out here, and I am just oblivious to the content. But I think a final season is fine. I mean, I don't know if it was part of like the crew of shows where they're like, you know what, tell us what you have for 5 seasons. And then like, if you can make it there, good. If you can't, we'll just cut you off before, you die. But I'm cool with the final season.
Yeah, that to me is a bit like Charmed, and that one's that it was on paper, it had a short shelf life and it's lasted a lot longer than people expected it to be. And it seems like it's gotten slightly more off the wall as it's gone on. But in general, I I think it had enough audience to enjoy its final season. So I don't see them pulling the plug on it unexpectedly. But yeah, if they want a final season and it feels like maybe the time is coming for that.
So Kung Fu.
I think it's safe.
Yeah, I don't like. I just don't think it's going anywhere. It's been really doing really well for the network.
But Legacies, I think it didn't hit like the Vampire Diaries or the originals. We're in season 4. I think maybe final season, not season 4, maybe season 5, if that. I don't know.
I feel the same way. I feel like fans should have been worried when like they quietly moved the date of when the premiere was going to come back, but like no major outlet was talking about it until way later. I think it was a little bit after it was going to be moved. It is not moving pop culture at all, as far as I'm aware. I mean, it sort of did in its early days there. I remember the ships popping up all over the place and people talking about how interesting it was that it was a school full of supernatural students. But that has since waned. So I don't know.
And I don't know how much it's making up on Netflix. I don't know how popular it is. If it's as popular as like Riverdale or Dynasty worldwide, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it is.
yeah. As a Vampire Diaries fan, I've never seen any kind of buzz around that. I've seen a lot of people asking, why do we need it? And it doesn't seem to have, like, as you said, moved the needle in any way like the previous 2 shows did. It's again like Charmed and In the Dark. I think it's done very, very well to get this far, but I could see the CW going, okay, one more try and then that's it. So I wouldn't be surprised if its final season. But speaking of final seasons, one I hope we do not get is Legends of Tomorrow, because it's been that little show that could. It's defied the odds with good ratings over the years, and I feel like the it keeps reinventing itself as it goes on, and it's got a lot more life left in it. And even 7 seasons in, and dwindling ratings, it's still among the more watched shows on the network. So for that reason alone, I'm going to say it's safe.
Manifesting that as well.
Okay, we need it.
I think the show a lot of people are the most worried about is Nancy Drew, which I can see, but also in the back of my mind, I'm like, why would they cancel a show when they're launching a spinoff that's going straight to series? I'm like, why wouldn't they pair them together? I don't know. I'm not as worried about Nancy as fans seem to be. Maybe that's wishful thinking. I just think it would be a really low blow if they were like, Nancy Drew's canceled, but here's Tom Swift.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, because it would seem to be the logical decision would be to, if you were going to take Nancy Drew off air, final season her, and allow like Tom Swift to be the show that airs, I guess, after or before her, so that you can at least pull in the Nancy Drew audience. Because I mean, how are you going to launch the man's show and then he doesn't have, like, the Nancy Drew fans are pissed and aren't going to tune into this spinoff.
Yeah, worst case scenario, I think final season. It is in a little bit more jeopardy maybe than some of the more watched shows, but again, I can't see them doing what you guys literally just said. So worst case scenario, final season, but I do think it'll live to fight at least one more day.
Will Naomi live to fight one more day? You know, the question is in the air. For someone who was panicked about All American Homecoming, I'm over here like, Naomi has time. Perhaps we should just not even be concerned about renewal news for her just yet.
Yeah, I can see them taking a chance on her.
Yeah, me too. It looks more like a streaming show, so maybe it'll do even better on streaming. I don't know. And I do think it's quite expensive, but they've invested a lot of promo and effort into that. And the critical response has been quite positive. So I don't see that going anywhere for at least one more season.
Okay, well, Naomi, again, manifesting for season 2. As for Roswell, New Mexico, I think it'll go to season 5. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm aware that they had built out the show to 5 seasons, so they have the material they need. I mean, granted, they did change showrunners, but I assume they're going to follow a pretty similar path of what Karina had developed for the show. I'm not really worried about it. I just feel like it's one of the CW's quieter series, and it has a fan base. I don't know if we'd consider the Roswell, New Mexico fandom to be a major CW fandom, but they're loud when they need to be loud. So They do
I
get
could,
buzz.
yeah, I could see them going to, at the very least, like a final fifth season, but they seem to be a pretty good pinch hitter in the spring for the CW. So they could just be like an under the radar, like this is still on, like the 100 was for like 7, 8 seasons, where you're like, I forgot that show was on because they just keep throwing it in like April. But I could see that sticking around and like continuing to grow a loyal fan base on streaming in the future.
Yeah, let's see that.
Yeah,
Like
definitely
after
on
the
board.
fact.
It's become like a bit of a spring staple for them. So if it performs adequately there, why not keep it around for at least another year?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know anything about Stargirl.
I don't either.
Well, it's I was going to say it's absolutely certain, but I've seen a lot of people saying it could go either way because it's one of the more expensive shows. It's a critical gem. It's a solid ratings hit, and it performed well on the CW when it was already a DC Universe original, and it was already out there for people to watch. Its second season then did quite well as well. So for that reason, I'm going to say it's absolutely going to come back. It feels weird to talk about it because season 3 hasn't even aired yet. So technically, its current status already is renewed for another season. But after season 3 finishes wraps, I do think we'll have a fourth season at the very least. It's not going anywhere. It can't.
Speaking of, is Superman and Lois just like the Flash? We don't even need to talk about
Dead
it. They're gonna
certain.
get
Dead
renewed.
certain. Yeah, it's
Also
coming back.
Yeah, also Walker. Like both of those shows are like pretty much locked for like 6 seasons or more. 4400 though.
Yeah, it's not. It's
that
not
might be
good.
that might be the cancellation, guys.
Unfortunately.
We've been very positive about all of the shows, saying worst case scenario final season. But I feel like if any of them has to go, it will unfortunately be 4400 because it's found itself in the exact same position as a lot of the veteran shows, without the fan base, without the status as a veteran, and without the streaming deal to bring it up. It just feels like there's nothing working in the show's favor. So as much as I would like it to live to fight another day, I'm not sure the network in its current predicament will be that forgiving.
Yeah, and when we say streaming deal, we mean it doesn't have the Netflix deal. The Netflix bump saved so many of CW shows in 4400. I believe it's on HBO Max, correct? Or will go to HBO Max. I know you can stream all the episodes on the CW, the CW app or CWTV.com. But like if we're talking about we have 3 pilots in order. One of those is gonna probably come in the fall. 4400 started, I believe, in the fall. Someone's got to get kicked off the schedule in order to make room. And it seems like that's going to be 4400.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, sorry, guys. I mean, we could be wrong, but it doesn't feel like we're wrong. And Riverdale, our beloved Riverdale. I think final season 7.
Yeah, I think shortened final season that comes like later in the year. That feels right.
Yeah, I don't think the show has too much going for it just to disappear. But at the same time, things aren't going for it as well as they used to. And we all did predict that season 7 would be the final one. So yeah, I definitely think final season is a start for Riverdale, but it will obviously come back to Earth's head final season. It's not just going to fall off the face of the earth and go quiet because Riverdale will go out in style.
Oh my God, yes. And it'll probably anger folks in its series finale. But that's what Riverdale does. Not to mention Lily, Camilla, and I believe Cole popped out and was like, yeah, if we get another season 7 will be the last. I think they're like trying to get everybody to get on the season 7 train so that they're ready.
So that they can all collectively get off the train when season 7 finishes.
Yes.
What we don't need them to do, though, is consider rebooting for like a season 8 with like a new cast. Like, no, that doesn't need to happen. Roberto, if you're listening, stop.
Exactly, because I mean, I like Berta as a character, but she's not leading a season 8, and she's the only teen I can think of who they would try to slot in to a lead role. Like, no.
Yeah, I don't need like Roberta. Yeah, I don't need like Jelly Bean's high school years. Like, wherever Jelly Bean is, like keep Jelly Bean wherever she is. She's probably happier.
Exactly.